This game is proof that 1800s are really not that good. I played a rapid game just earlier, and I say this just so everyone knows the point of this video is not to, put my opponent down, certainly. If anything, it's making fun of myself, but also to encourage a lot of viewers because I think a lot of people, I don't know, a lot of people think 1800s nothing. A lot of people, I get viewers in the comments that are struggling to get, up to 1200, 1300, 1400. So this is just to show you guys how 1800s still blunder like crazy. This is a really funny game. So my opponent is an 1881 from India, and I played d4. We got this kind of interesting game where I immediately start attacking right away. Bishop g4 shows me that my opponent is going for something out of the ordinary. I've seen it, I see it a lot, but they're looking to not necessarily attack, but they're looking to make me feel uncomfortable. So this is what we get. I play a3 knowing it's not the best move, but I just didn't want any nonsense, because the bishop does have that diagonal for the moment, and I guess that's kind of the point of this move, bishop g4. So anyhow, I play a3, my opponent plays h6, and I take here on d5, which I guess is an inaccuracy, but my thought process was just that I didn't want bishop d3 and then takes. I didn't want this because, they can't play b5, but I know that often is an idea when you try to challenge the bishops. You take, kind of displace, because I don't want to take here anymore, lose a tempo. So anyways, I decided to take. Looks like it wasn't the best decision, and then I went d3. This is really not the best game, but it is a crazy game. You'll see why. Then the bishop goes back to g4, so I'm like, okay, you know what? If he's just going to move his light square bishop over and over and over, I'm just going to develop. Inaccuracy. Like everything in this game is like inaccuracy. I thought it was okay because I didn't see any immediate threat. Yes, I saw he could jump his knight in, but whatever. Everything's protected. I'm just going to develop. He does just that, knight e4, which is the blunder, apparently, and I didn't take advantage of it. Let's see. Knight takes his... What? Oh, okay. See? This is exactly... Look at this. He plays knight e4. It's a complete blunder. It's just a free pawn. He's thinking that if I take, he can take back with a pawn and win my knight, except that it's not defended. I can just take with the bishop, and that's a free pawn. So that's huge. That's blunder number one. I miss it. I play h3. My opponent goes back. Here, I want to take advantage of the b-file, so I move the rook over. Okay, rook b1 is the best move. He moves rook b8. Immediately, I'm starting to look for tactics because I see that my bishop can pin the knight, my knight can jump in here, and this rook, the only thing defending the rook is the queen. So if I were to if the take on a c6 or something and then take the rook, there might be tactics. So I decided to go bishop b5. Computer doesn't like that either. They take, and I'm like, ooh, I didn't see that, so that's not great. I did not see bishop takes a3, but then I was like, wait a second, doesn't queen a4 just win a piece, pretty much? Maybe not win a piece, but at least a pawn, because I'm threatening to take and win the pawn, make, black's position pretty uncomfortable because they have to be very careful, or I pick up the bishop. So I go here and then pick up the bishop. Anyhow, he goes back, plays bishop d6, which is the best move. By the way, queen a4 was not good. And then here I'm thinking, I was sitting there like I have 8 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock. I took a good minute to think about this move. Or maybe it was this move. Yeah, I took another minute to think about this move. I took, which is a blunder, another blunder. I should have just castled, I guess, which I did think of doing. I took, thinking, okay, he's going to go... I thought maybe he would go bishop here, and then I would take penning the queen so that we can trade, but I'll just take the queen. And I thought that would be pretty decent for me. He moves the king forwards to e7, which was pretty crazy. I castle, and this is where the mistakes this is where the game gets crazy. I didn't think this was a very good move because, his king's right out in the center, and you're opening up the e-file for my rook to pin your bishop. I didn't expect that move, but I went ahead and took, and then queen d6. And I thought about this for a long time. I thought immediately, okay, what if I just go knight e5 with the threat of if he takes, I take and fork his king and rook. The thing is, he can just take my rook first. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to take the rook first, right? So then after it takes back, then I can go here, and he cannot take the queen because it would be a fork. Yeah, well, except that I forgot that it hangs my queen. And I had looked at this, like, what if I just traded my queen for 2 rooks? Technically 2 rooks can be even more valuable than a queen. It just depends on the position and everything. I didn't mean to do that. I did not want to do this, but I was like, oh my god, I just hung my queen, and okay, now we're 2 rooks, a knight versus a queen and a bishop. I'd rather play with the queen and the bishop. But then all sorts of crazy things started happening. Right here, I'm just like, I'm losing. I'm going to lose. These pawns are all loose and weak. There's no way I can defend them. The rooks are disconnected. Yeah, black has some weak pawns as well. But then I saw, okay, he takes, I'm going to go knight e5, because if he takes here, he gets forked. Knights can be very tricky. He took some time to think, unfortunately, to my demise, and didn't fall for that. So then, okay, I'm thinking, great, I really don't want to lose the d4 pawn. Like, this knight is my only saving grace. So I decided to go rook d1, even though I knew that my opponent could attack my rook. Apparently, it's a great move. Cool. They attack my rook, and then I realized that I can go forwards, which says it's a mistake. I realized that he can give me checks, and I missed this, though, that he could pick up the pawn with check. I just thought, well, the knight can't be kicked out, and the knight defends the rook, and the rook defends the pawns. And so pretty soon I was like, wait a second, this position's actually kind of interesting. But then, yeah, I blundered this. Then I blundered this. Crazy. Like, I have 2.5 minutes on my clock. I'm down on time, but no excuse to be blundering, like, make these kinds of blunders. Usually when you blunder like this, g3, and then they pick up the pawn, the f-pawn, it's game over. You're done. You're done. Except that after queen takes, and then I move back, this is forced. It gives me another check. So here, he has to be super careful, because on the next move, I can win the queen with rook f3 check and pick up the queen. And so if he were to take here, he loses on the spot because of this. Now it's a rook and knight versus a bishop, so has to be very careful. So he saw that and decided to first give me a check, then take the pawn with check, which is apparently a miss. I slide the king over. King g1 is my only move. He attacks my rook, and then I'm like, okay, wait a second. The same thing still kind of applies. The knight can defend the rook on these squares, and the knight, like, he can't take my knight. He can't kick my knight out. So this is actually really annoying. Now I'm pinning the bishop, and on the next move, I'm threatening g4, which is a discovered attack on the queen, and it's hitting the bishop, threatening to win a piece, or the queen, depending on how my opponent reacts to it. He still can't kick the knight out. This rook's out of the game, but trying to, I was looking already at, like, is there some kind of checkmate, like mating that I could do with the rook, if I get the other rook in? Anyhow, I kind of figured he would go king e7. He probably saw that it was a little bit dangerous staying there with his king, but then I can still play this move g4, so I win a piece. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my god, I might actually be able to win this. This is crazy. He still can't take that pawn. It's defended by the knight. He can't take my rook. It's defended by the pawn. Like, everything is somehow kind of being held together. He gives me a check, and then I'm like, okay, I have 1 minute to win this, and, I have to be careful. If I make one wrong move with all of his checks, I could lose the game. So I move forwards to g2, and then here I move the rook back. It's the only winning move, let's say, or it's the best move. It's a great move. Hits the queen. He can't take here, but if he does, and right here, I was like, wait a second. I wonder if in this time he forgot that this king just went back to the initial square, e7, with that same threat of if they take on d4, it's a fork. So I was like, wait a second. Let me just play this move. My opponent has plenty of time on their clock, but people tend to play faster when you're playing faster, and I have to because I have 1 minute. So I played this move, hitting the queen. Queen's got to go somewhere, and it's crazy. It has no checks. The queen has no moves. My king is surprisingly safe. White is winning. Yeah, you guys can see the eval bar. White is winning by far. Where I'm 5 points up, it's completely winning. But it's a hard position to play. And he takes. He takes, which somehow the computer says the good move. He takes, but there's no way he meant to do it because he blundered the fork, and I won the game. I was, for the last half of the game, like, oh my god, I just blew this because I had a brain fart and hung my queen or traded for 2 rooks. And from that point on, I was just thinking, okay, I lost this. And then this crazy, turn of events. There were a lot of good moves. So, 1800s make tons of mistakes still. Obviously, we can find some good moves, but I thought this was kind of funny. So anyhow, I'll be back at it playing more rapid games. If you guys want to check out the journey to 2000 ELO, you'll see it. It's like a billion different videos on my channel. It's basically all there is. So I'll be back at it. Check that out. I'll put a link in the description in one of the videos of the last day of my journey to 2000 ELO. And I'll see you in the next one.